How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 5 of my video blog series, from a dad's perspective. Um, this week is going to cover the last 2 weeks. We had some internet issues and finally got everything squared away Wednesday this week, and I got a chance to be able to start doing some stuff. So, hope you don't mind everything that crammed into like this 45 probably minute episode. Hopefully a little less, just depends, where the conversation goes. But over the last 2 weeks, my son went back to school and my wife went back to work. Things have been really nice having them be able to go back, and when I come home, we're actually coming home at the same time, and we kind of get everything ready for food, for dinner. Um, but it's been good. We've had my dad just had some surgery done where they went in and scoped his veins to make sure that there was no blockages and things. We're waiting some of the results for that. As far as we know, everything looks good so far. He's got to go back in for more of them in about a month or so. Um, but him being diabetic and him already having issues before, it's one of the things we got to be concerned on. And I'm glad that, he takes this stuff serious. I love to be able to have my dad here a lot longer than you know what the world may try to do. you know but it's been other than that, it's been good. I've been playing Sea of Stars. Love this game. Fantastic. It took me back to playing Chrono Trigger. um the characters are fantastic. The world is beautiful. Amazing sprite work. I was I've been anticipating this game for a long time. I missed out on the Kickstarter. I wish I could have done that, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just kind of miss out on things because other things in life kind of like direct you in a different path, and you may not see it. I try my best to keep up with everything that's going on in the world, especially for pop culture and toys and video games and movies. But yeah, so really good game. I actually finished it last weekend, and then this weekend I sat down, I think yesterday, and just cranked out the stuff you need to do to get the true ending of the game. um but great characters, man. I think I cried like once with something that happens, and it was very reminiscent of Chrono Trigger. um there's a lot of elements in this game that are just very much like a love letter to RPGs of the time, the mid 90s era, Super Nintendo, PlayStation era. You had like Chrono Trigger, there's elements of Final Fantasy 3, there's elements of Secret of Mana, Mario RPG. I even saw stuff from like the Breath of Fire series a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it out. Luckily, if you have like PlayStation Plus or the Xbox Game Pass, you can be able to play it on there for free. But it's definitely something that I'm going to look forward to trying to get whenever it has a physical release. But so it was really good being able to play some games. The last couple of weeks have been kind of crazy, and actually being able to like just sit down and just kind of veg out was has been much needed. Because sometimes you get on the grind and everything in your life that's going on, especially work, and then the routines, everything that you normally do at home, and um, everything else, you just don't have time to game or to make videos on YouTube or watch movies. And it's been really nice kind of getting back into the streaming stuff, and uh, so I think this week I will be finishing up the thing on PS2. I will not be able to stream on Tuesday. I may put it off or put it on or change the date to Tuesday or Wednesday. It just depends. Um, I just need to be able to get it done then, because my buddy Alex and Bobby, and I'm going to reach out to my buddy Andrew so we can probably go to either Cidercade or the U of H Student Center so we can go play some games, hang out, maybe record a podcast episode, go get a bite to eat. Sometimes it's really good to be able to spend time with your friends, especially the ones you went to high school with or elementary, and just talk about what's going on in our lives. All of us have kids, and being parents, we're all busy with our jobs and careers, and it's just really nice being able to like forget all that stuff and just think about the good times. Even though that stuff going on right now is good, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's always good to kind of dive into that nostalgia, or the rekindle those flames of friends that you probably don't get to see as often. I know for most of my friends, I still contact them on a regular basis. Some of them I have in Discord, some of them I have on Facebook. Um, I have a WhatsApp group where we talking about like old days of like game crazy high school stuff like that. It's always about cool things that we used to do and the shenanigans. But um, that's one of the big things too, is like I kind of I know that I want us to be able to move at some point and move to a place that is going to give Edward a better opportunity to have more friends than he does, because on the street we live on, there's only a few little kids, but he's kind of the oldest. So no one his age to bond with. He has, his cousin Keegan, and there are, my niece and nephew, but my nephew is going to be 18 this year, and my niece just turned 9. But of course, they're up in Dallas, Fort Worth area. But uh, what he's got Jeremiah, which is my wife's best friend's brother's son, and he's a good kid. But it's like I had like tons of friends back then. I mean, I had friends over all the time. My best friend Jeff and my buddy Billy, and man, there's like a bunch of other people I can let Johnny. Man, we would all play NES or Super Nintendo, or stay at each other's houses, for the night. I remember like there'd be times we would go over and be I'd be at Jeff's house, and his mom would take us out to Hollywood Video or Blockbuster, and we would rent like a couple games for the night. And I remember that's how I played Mega Man X through 3 for the first time. And we would sit there and play it for the weekend and then like beat it, because I'd be there for like 2 days. And it's just like that's what it used to be. My friends would come over, they'd be over there for the weekend, and then vice versa. I'd be at their houses, and then we just always had a good time. It was always about gaming, watching anime, and I I'm hoping that, as my son gets older and then maybe we move into a better place that has, kids around his age, or maybe, I guess it's different because like I grew up in an apartment, so there was tons of kids. Of course, a lot of those kids went to my school, so it was easier to make friends back then versus when you're living in a house in a neighborhood that's probably maybe a couple blocks or more from the school you go to. But, you know, it's it's always a challenge being a parent, trying to balance, what needs to be done to help your child, the process of, being not only a parent, but a friend, not in as a sense that you're not going to discipline your child to make sure that they understand like when they're right or wrong and things like that, but taking the time to sit down and playing with them on their level, and making them understand, and being reassured that if they ever come across a problem or a need or a situation, they can come to us and confidence instead of trying to hide it. um it's that whole thing of like, you can demand respect, but you can also give respect, so that way you can hopefully show them that they want to respect you in turn. Yeah, you can teach it and instill it into them, but you shouldn't demand it. It should be something that's earned regardless. And that works both ways. um One of the things that my dad taught me, and my sister, And I wonder, it's like this weekend, he was on Roblox. And then I was like, all right, bud, you need to clean your room. And I was going through the process of breaking down his bed because we got a new bed for him. And right now him and my wife are gonna sleep on our bed. As soon as I'm done recording and editing this, I'm gonna probably go sleep on the couch. That way I can make sure that, they get a good night's sleep and everything. And I'm good sleeping wherever I sleep as long as, it's only for the night because I'm gonna finish his bed and get all that stuff done tomorrow. So I can, be able to lay down and stuff and not have to worry about it. But it's going to be good for him having that new bed in there so that way we can have more space. I want to get a desk in there so he can have space to draw and write or do whatever he wants to do, maybe build Legos. And um, I want to be able to give him the opportunity to be creative because I know that for me, I had a desk. I drew all the time. I would like turn on my computer and just like listen to music while I was drawing. Um, and I've talked about this before. I gave up drawing, and I kind of, after playing Sea of Stars, have been just inspired to start picking up the pencil again and drawing stuff. And like, so at work, when I was at my break, I drew Zale from Sea of Stars, and I kind of want to do a picture that is a inspired, where I take the characters but draw them as if it was drawn by Akira Toriyama, and like as a homage to Chrono Trigger being my favorite game of all time. And I definitely have to say too that going back to Sea of Stars, that is my game of the year this year. It's going to be really hard for anything to beat it because as much as I enjoyed, Resident Evil 4 and Final Fantasy 16 and Tears of the Kingdom, Armor Core's up there, but I need to finish it. I can't like make a verdict on that one to say it's anything. But right now, Sea of Stars has that spot as far as my game of the year. So, but it's one of those things. I'm trying to do things for him, my son, to have him not be trapped in the virtual world of Roblox. Um, it's hard, because you try to get, especially when you have a house full of games and things. It's like, look, you have like a library that you can just sit there and play anything you want, but you want to play this game that you constantly keep asking us for money for. It's like I don't like that. It's like I can go and spend, $60 on a game and it's a complete game. Whereas like Roblox, it's like, oh, it's a leech off of the parents so they can play this game so they can have all these like extra nonsense. And I'm like, go play Minecraft, go play something else. I think my Roblox is a horrible game. It's not anything about me not understanding it. I get the game, but I I don't want to force my child into playing something he doesn't want to play, but I know he's curious and he's a big Kirby fan. He's a big Mario fan. So when Mario Wonder comes out, he's going to be on that. I mean, he has been playing Pokemon Scarlet, so that's good. But like, what do you do? What do you do as a parent to kind of curve your child from, playing games or doing certain things that you don't approve of, and without having to be the villain, you have to find a way to teach them that, what they're doing isn't the best. I mean, because you got to wonder too. I can't regulate he's what he's doing on the games or who he's talking to. I have to, I trust that he's not going to make some mistake and give our address to some guy, and that's going to cause some problems. But all I can do is get him invested in other things, take the time out to play stuff with him, and then he may enjoy that more than jumping on Roblox. And I've gone through the process of trying to buy his cousin or his friend Jeremiah, since they both have Switches, games that Edward has, so that way they can play those together. Um, and it's hard. Keegan's a little bit older than he's a year or so older than Edward, and you know, it's that generation. Everybody's all up on tablets or on the phones, and you just gotta work at as a parent trying to guide them in the right direction. And it's a challenge, because you have to be on the same page with your significant other, and hopefully you guys can guide them to the child or your children in a direction that'll be good. And it's hard, we all have difficult jobs. We maybe be tired when we come home, so it's like we do just enough, but sometimes you have to be a little bit stronger and have to push forward because it's for the good of the child, for them to learn that, yeah, there's going to be temptations out there, but you got to learn to be able to not fall into those traps. Maybe something I'm doing here isn't worth losing something over here for. And it's just something you got to work at, and I got to work at, and my wife, and he's good. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's just being a child. um I remember being 9 years old. Of course, the times were different back then. They were like, what? I was at 9. I was that was 1990. I mean, I was like, what, a year or so before T2 came out, which would have been like the movie that I loved the most in the world, my favorite movie of all time. Um, and but it's interesting. Experiencing being a father, being a parent. And it's nice being able to have, a wife that helps you through what you're dealing with, and so you're not alone. And that's one of the lessons and things that I need to understand a little bit more in my life, is that I'm not alone. No matter how, like, I'm in a moment where I feel maybe left out, or I feel um that things aren't going my way, or the way I think they should go anyway. um I need to realize I'm not alone, and I'm only a phone call away, or my friends, or my dad, or my sister, or my aunt, my uncle Mike, they're all a phone call away. My friends are a phone call away. If I need to talk to them, I can. And if they may be going through something and they can't deal with whatever I'm dealing with at the moment, that's fine. You be there for them and help them through that, and then just go find somebody else you can go talk to. Because at that time you don't want to burden somebody with the problems you're dealing with. But that's the whole thing about life, is the connections we make, and the friends we make along the way, the people we love. And we don't have to be so alienated. We don't have to be so afraid to reach out and say, hey, I'm having a rough time. I know this weekend I was having a really hard time. You know, I turn I turned 42 in 7 days. And I look at myself in the mirror and I look like my dad more and more. Um, and but I'm taking care of my health, and I'm doing what I can. And the things I need to learn, that the things I can't control aren't worth worrying about. Um, and it sucks. You want to control the world, control the things that are around you. You don't want to have that Kobayashi Maru situation. You want to be able to make sure you having a winning scenario. You want to be able to prove that you can, no matter the odds of what it is. And I need a haircut. I need to shave my beard so I look a little bit younger. I need to take care of myself even more. I need to go to the doctors to check out my my health and make sure I'm good, because even though I have been changing and doing things to lose weight, I do need to make sure that I don't have anything wrong. I don't have a cancer or anything going on, knock on wood. But I want to be able to have the fighting chance to be here for my family and friends and continue on this road of what I enjoy and sharing it with the world and keep making these videos for my son. So that way, if something does happen, because I can't control what can happen, a plane could crash on my house and I just don't survive. But at least, there would be a video that would be there for multiple years for him. And it's been, but it's been fun. I'm enjoying it, and I have my moments, and I just got to work through them. And I shouldn't let them weigh me down in a way that I can't perform what I want and what I enjoy. And I also need to realize that when I'm doing stuff like this, that I'm doing it for myself as well as for my son, and I'm having fun doing it. I don't expect anything out of it. Even if it's like I only get a few people watching this, it's okay. Um, I know that I can't bring the level of what I want at the moment, but things will change and I'll be able to put a little more funds into things and have better content out there for people and make it entertaining, and I'm like that's being able to stream has been fantastic. And I know I was telling Ryan and a couple of other guys that I want to do a Saturday night anime in my Discord. And we did that this Saturday. We watched Akira. It was only like three of us in there, but man, I had a blast. I hadn't watched Akira in at least a year, and but being able to talk about it and how influential that movie is, and the animation still holds up to this day. The storyline and what's going on between Kaneda and Tetsuro and their friendship and how that affects the world around them, um, especially with the world affecting their relationship. It's relevant. It's very relevant. Um, I have to say that's one, if not my favorite anime of all time. I love the manga, and I'd love to see the manga translated into a full-fledged anime. Uh, it deserves to be a full series, not a movie. Uh, there was so much more depth of what happens in that story that you don't get to see in the film. But the film is like a trailer for what you can expect to see in that manga, that 6 volume series. And they're like phone book size. I mean, they're huge. Uh, and man, I love it. And that's like I want to do that whole thing with the Discord where I watch, we watch anime. I got to think of what we're going to watch this next Saturday, which, um, geez, yeah, next Saturday is the 16th. So, one more day on Sunday. Sunday will be my birthday. Um, so I think it'll be cool because if I do it right, I'll be able to stream it while my friends are over. We can have a good time. And, I need to have some friends over. I need to play some fighting games and just have a good time. Uh, it's been rough this last couple months, and I know things have been getting better, but it's hard. I lost my grandmother 2 years ago, back in June, and I it's hard not having my grandparents. It's hard not having certain people in your life anymore. Ones that you strive to um, make sure they approve of what you do, because you don't want to let them down. And that was always my biggest thing. And that's one of the things I hope I can teach my son is that, I never wanted to let anybody important to me down. Always wanted to make sure that I was there. And I didn't want them to be or feel that they were disappointed in me. Um, so I strived, I really did, to do the right thing. Because that was what was important to me. And as long as I had them, I could take on the world. And it's the same now. I have my son and my wife and my friends and everything and my family. It's just there's certain people that I miss. I'm so glad that my dad's still here, and I'm going to cherish every moment I got with him and make sure I make more videos with him because whatever happens, I can't you can't stop the wheels of time. You can't stop um death coming around the corner. You gotta push through. You do what you can. You make this life that you have worthwhile. And that's all you can do. Um Man, I get in these like conversations or at least topics where I talk about my thoughts on things and like I'm preaching and I don't mean to. Um but yeah, no, what else? Um yeah, I think this week I actually got to watch Big Trouble in Little China all the way through again. Man, I think I've watched it like normally I watch that movie like multiple times a year. And I think this is the first time I've actually fully watched it all the way through. Because I think even when I was doing the shorts and showcasing some of my favorite parts of that movie, uh, I didn't watch it all the way through. I just skimmed to where I needed to for those scenes, and I made them. And but that's another movie that like really changed my perspective and encouraged me to um love film cinema. I remember it was like I was 12 years old, I think. I was looking for something to watch, and my dad had like, we had a few movies that we had purchased, but most of the movies we had that we on VHS were recorded. And I remember like going through stuff. I was like, no, I don't want to watch that. I just watched this. No, 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 I don't want to watch that. And then I saw Big Trouble in China, and I remember watching it a little bit when I was younger. But being 12, it was like perfect. I put it in. It was like a late Saturday into Sunday morning, and I wanted something to watch, and I put it on, and just that from the opening scene with John Carpenter's music playing and the Pork Chop Express and Jack Burton talking in the CB radio, it just had me, and it was like I was like Mortal Kombat was around and all this stuff, and I was like, man, there's the similarities there. It was like I remember for a brief moment, I was like, man, being a truck driver would be kind of cool. But then I remember that's what my papa used to do. And um, I was like, I don't know. If I have a family, I don't know if I can be away from them from that long. And, but it was because of that movie that I fell in love even more with film. And I remember having to get every John Carpenter movie. I think right after that, I watched it again. And then I watched The Thing and I watched like Escape from New York, but I've already seen those. Big Trouble for some reason was one of the ones that I just didn't remember, and it just hit me perfectly at 12. And I fell in love with the cinematography and the direction of John Carpenter and his films. That how that most of them sometimes end open ended. It left you enough for your imagination to wonder what if or what's next. And I had to get all the VHS. That was one of the things. I was like, I did whatever I did. I mowed lawns and I was helping out with things. I got extra cash and I got all of his movies on VHS. And then whenever the Blu-ray, I mean the Blu-ray, but the DVDs came out, I was like, oh my gosh. And I got to listen to the audio commentary and the making of, and it was this that fueled my passion for film and my love for it. I mean, because I loved other things. I mean, I love Batman. I love, you know, uh, the Terminator. I loved, Back to the Future. All these things that people all love. But it was Big Trouble that really hit me and made me want to do that. And it sucks, you know, you have a passion for it. You start going to school for it, but then just life takes you in a different direction. And I wouldn't change anything. You know, I have a wife and a son, and I cherish every moment I have with them. But I feel that the opportunity that I have now on YouTube is I could possibly get a chance to make a movie. I have quite a few scripts that I've written and some stories that I'd love to be able to make into a film. And they're not goofy. I mean, they're in the vein of like Carpenter. They're in the vein of Cameron, you know. Um, they're they're in a way of, and I think some of them could be done on a lower budget. Um, you know, and the cool thing is, you know, doing this journey that I'm on and the people I've met, the amazing people I've met, and the friends I've made, you know, there's opportunities that I could possibly be able to try to achieve that. And I don't want to talk about any of those because I don't want to give those stories away so that way someone can steal my idea. But I'd love to. I'd love to make a movie. And it's just like I'm have an itch to start drawing again. And I was talking to my buddy Jeff, my best friend, my brother, about the fact that like, man, I'm so rusty because when I was trying to draw the picture I was drawing, it just looked off to me. And it's like the proportions weren't right and other things. And I showed him, and he goes, "That's really awesome." And I told him, "Man, it's what I can see the flaws." And it's like, I'm so rusty with drawings. I need to start drawing again. And he goes, "Do whatever makes you happy." And I think that's the message that I'm going to leave tonight is that um, do something that makes you happy. And if that's like, you know, going out there and helping somebody, you know, achieve whatever they want to achieve, or just being a friend, or, you know, being there for them. Maybe you want to fly, learn how to become a pilot, or who knows? You know, it's never too late to be able to achieve any kind of skill. You just got to make a plan and you got to work at it. And that's one of the things that I'm having to reassure myself, and the reasons why I'm doing it. So I, you know, that's why I'm trying to make sure that our house is in order. So that way, if I want to go draw, I can go set up my table and maybe put some my headphones on, and I can just zone out what I used to do, you know, put on like video game soundtracks and just, or techno, or Linkin Park, or any 80s band that I enjoy, and just zone out and just start drawing because I need to. I need to start writing again more than I do now. I like kind of peck out ideas, and that's about it at this time. And but you know, and that's the one thing is like now that I don't have that stressful job I did, and things have been really nice at this new one, and I'm getting into the groove of everything. I'm finding I have a little more time. I just need to utilize it. I need to be able to maybe go to bed at a good time and not be so tired when I come home, and then start this never-ending cycle of staying up, sleeping a small amount, going to work, coming home, passing out for a couple hours, and then restarting the process. But that it is what it is, you know. Um, but yeah, I there's my discussion for today, guys. Um, let me see. So, what would the question be today? Um, what was a hobby or skill that you enjoyed as a kid or growing up that you kind of let go, but you look at it fondly and kind of wish you could still do it, you know? Me drawing would be the number one. I miss drawing. I miss uh the fun times of just doing something cool for somebody, and or just drawing Dragon Ball Z characters, and or the Guyver, other anime stuff, because you know that was my niche, was being able to draw animation or manga style. But yeah, Well, everyone, this has been my 2 weeks. I know it's kind of truncated, and I went off on some different topic, but hey, no, you know what? It didn't really go into a different topic. It kind of flowed organically into where we went. I hope to see you guys next week, and then in the meantime, everyone have a great week, and see you later.